Hi everybody. Whoa, a little loud, sorry. Oops. I'm just gonna start talking right now behind the countdown card. I'm hiding a little bit, I guess. But yeah. So I'm just gonna check levels and everything now. I stream like just not often enough to remember how to do all this. Yeah, it's a long countdown. I should probably just start cutting these in at 3 minutes or something instead. 5 minutes is a while. Hopefully y'all can hear me. Just let me know if you can hear me or not, or whatever. And we'll get started pretty soon once a few more people kind of trickle in, once we figure out what's going on. Should we go? Awesome. What's up, everybody? George, yeah, this is live, and Aaron K, you're correct. We're gonna be doing an R9 today. Everybody's, I guess, inspired by Mafia. Everybody's doing vintage cities. I'm seeing a lot of those on the subreddit and everything. So I figured now would be a good time to tackle something I've wanted to make for a while, actually. So an R9 it is. These things are cool. I just thought, you know what? I could stream it. That would be a fun, pretty fun at least, way to spend a few hours today. And you know what? Yeah, see, building some New York style apartments in The Sims inspired. See, everybody's inspired by Mafia right now, which fair enough. I've heard it's very good. I've not played it myself, but I've heard it's good, and it makes me want to make some old subway trains for everybody. So we will do that, which will be fun. Maybe custom sounds like I did for the R142. I don't know. There's definitely going to be some custom traction sounds and things, but I don't quite know what I'll do for the announcements. I might do some, but I haven't reached out to anybody yet. I try to do different voices for each train, or at least different so far. I've done 3, obviously, new Metro ones. I've done the R142, which has me and somebody else doing voices. I stand in for Charlie Pellet, and then I had a friend of mine do the other announcements on the R62, where he plays like a conductor on the PA, which I think is really funny. And then I actually had Big Mood Energy from her great series and for her YouTube channel, Alexandra, did them for the God, I'm blanking, for the state-of-the-art cars, which were very fun. So yeah, cool. Countdown's almost ready. See a few more questions that I'll just answer now. So it says the holiday variant would be pretty cool with the wreath and some lights. You read my mind. You read my mind. I do want to do those for the holidays. This is sort of, we're coming up to the to Subway Day again, which, if you don't know, that's the New York City Subway's birthday. So I figured I'd do one of these for that. Yeah. Here, it's time to come out of hiding. I've got the face cam on for today as well. So here we go. R9. Here, I picked an actual R9 drawing because it seemed to be the crispest I could find online. And this is such great reference to be able to use. So this will be huge. So yes, how many FPS does your game have in massive cities? It varies a lot. which is tricky. So, yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to, my microphones are all weird. There we go, hopefully that'll work. Yeah, echo. Sorry, I fixed it. Didn't realize I screwed up my settings. Sorry. God, I have a pretty long delay set up just to help it smooth over. To help make sure that fidelity comes through. But that does mean that whenever I screw up, it takes a long time to check if it's fixed or not. Stefano asks, how many FPS does your game have in massive cities? Not great. It depends. I just upgraded my processor, and I'm looking to hopefully pick up a 3080 at some point, new graphics card. But obviously that's really hard to find. So I'm waiting on that. My processor, unfortunately, I had two GTX 980s, and now I only have one because the new motherboard only fit one card in my small case. I literally this morning, I thought I didn't order it, but I guess I did. I just bought a 1070 Ti, I think, maybe just a 1070. I can't quite remember. But I picked something up just pretty cheap off eBay to as a bridge to try to what did I get? Just got a regular 1070, which I should have next weekend. Just as a little bridge until I can get my hands on a proper 3080, and then I'll sell it again. So that'll help, and that'll help run cities a little better. Anyway, we've been looking at this Photoshop page for too long. So this is basically how I start almost everything. I'll find a diagram if I can, or I will try to draw one or make one. That's right. So I did some straightening out. It's really important to try to get your lines straight on these, especially older drawings. Like if you can find newer ones that are computer created, chances are vertical lines will be vertical. But on ones like these, which are hand drawn and drafted, which, holy cow, beautiful. But it means that there are some issues with things that should be square or not square, and it's always frustrating when I model something to line it up, and on this end, see, it's right here at the right top, but on this end, the blue line is perfectly horizontal. You can see it's a little lower. So to counteract that, I drag in a whole bunch of Photoshop guides onto straight lines of the car here, and looks like pretty much across the board this thing is syncing. So I will grab my layer. Oops. I'll grab my layer, go to transform it, and this is kind of an approximate process, I guess, just because any little bit I can do to get it slightly better helps. But I'll just grab my warp tool and just start kind of dragging back and forth, trying to warp it into position. Oops. That's right. God, I always forget the best way to. Yeah, it is Alt. Okay, great. If I press Alt, I can just put a little pin there, and I can pin and drag my pins just to make sure everything lines up nicely. So see here, we look pretty good across the middle. Might not be a bad idea just to put something in here just to make totally sure it's all good in the middle. And I think that's good. You can see here, top, looks like we're a little high right about here. Whoops. That's good. This part could come a little bit lower. Yes, you always have to hope that the person who scanned this in originally did a good job. So this one seems pretty good, all things considered. I think we'll leave it. Great. So I'll check that off. And now it's nice to have all this general data. It's kind of fun, but I don't need it. So crop it away and just keep the dimensions, but everything else just gets in my way. So, all right, we're getting on face cam. So the 3070 might work just as good. Probably. I do some pretty heavy video editing, 3D modeling and effects and such. So I want to go for the 80, which will be fun. I've been looking out. Unfortunately, the way my case is designed, I actually need a blower style card, or at least the Founders Edition. So I literally have to sit around and wait until NVIDIA can do their own drop, which is tricky. So I gotta take care of that, so I don't know. I think the 1070 will be a great card for me for a little while. Obviously, it's just nice and cheap. So once I get the thing, I'll sell it, and hopefully it'll be a pretty cheap, what the hell? I'm like totally blanking on the word. Rental, like a rental. I'll buy it, but I'll just, it'll cost me $20 to use it for 3 months until I can get my hands on a 3080 or the 3080 Ti or whatever's out by then. So, so that'll be nice. So I'm just gonna save up R9 reference here, and we're gonna go over to Maya. So yes, are you still an NG server? Yes, I am. So just gonna grab a cube here, make it roughly train shaped, image plane, import my image. I saw somebody ask earlier about Presidio Bay 3. We're still working on it. It's required some models, which has taken longer than we thought, but I got a big chunk of them into game. I believe if you're a patron for Presidio Bay, Interurban Arrow will be streaming some Presidio Bay later today, so that'll be pretty cool. I might jump into that stream at some point. I don't quite know, but needing models slowed down production a little bit, but that is obviously it's done now. We have the models. There's one more other model that is like a nice to get that we're trying to line up, but that's a network, so it's going to take a little while to do. But because it's just a nice to have, it really depends. We're thinking of just moving on without them, just to get it done. So still happening. We're sorry about the delay. We're trying to really settle on a good schedule to be able to make and continue with and match. And I'm very sorry that we have not been able to get that nailed so far. It's definitely something we're trying to figure out. Doing a series like this is, I want to say new for me, but the amount of custom stuff that we have to do is, I think it surprised both of us. And that's partly just because I was planning on a lot of kind of, close enough models and things, but with all the support we've gotten, we're at this like really weird point where we can kind of do anything if we want to just put some time on it, which is amazing. Like, and it's to the point where, I wasn't expecting to have such a beautiful ferry building model, for example, but we do. And like, God, it's hard to be like, it's fine, I'll just do a crappy one for mine. So yeah. Right now, I immediately already get into a little bit of trouble, I guess, in terms of trying to figure out a specific shape and size. So I'm gonna do what I do frequently, which is I jump onto nycsubway.org and I just pull open a ton of pictures. So I've just searched for R9, my specific model that I'm going off of. Okay, great. So that sort of answers that. A lot of times I will also save these just for easy access. So let me do that. Here we go. Sorry, I'm like incredibly slow at this right now, and I have no idea why. R9. That's a little too bad of a picture. That's a good one. That's a little small. That's a hard one. 68 though. Looks like it's digitally colored maybe. I can't tell. That's a pretty good one. I wish these were slightly higher res, but I'll take what I can get. Cool. So that should hopefully help. Alright, and that kind of answers my question there. So if I open this up... Okay, cool. So sometimes the blueprints look a little strange. So they seem to show some sort of like overhang here that doesn't appear to exist, at least in that picture. What we got here? Yeah, it's so slight. I'll just take care of that on the normal map. But getting that corner little cutout thing. What is this music? I just went and looked for latest like chill hop, ambience, whatever. This is what it's given me. Okay, guys. Weird. Cool. So, I'm just gonna chop this out. Put a couple edge loops in where I need them. So these guys have this interesting little kind of... Whoops. Why did it do that? Just extrude it this way then. Neat little kind of cutouts here on the end. I think that's where they line up to. Again, this is where it's really useful to have this reference. So I'm looking like it's, yeah, it's a little deeper on the side. Cool. So, trying to get a lot more model detail than I'd usually would in some of these assets. This Presidio-based stuff has had me trying really hard to step up the quality, and I think it's really paying off. You can see that just with the subway revamps versus the originals is they're almost unrecognizable, which is really cool. So there we go. Let me line that up. All right, now get a couple more edge loops. So this thing is a slightly more complex shape than I had been giving it credit for. Which of course is always fun to realize as I'm modeling this. So the front, mostly like this. Oops. Let me harden these edges so you can kind of see the shape. Obviously the middle section is the door, which I will fix and push back in later. But the way these work, essentially, kind of, so these cap over. I'm trying to figure out the best way to do this topologically. It might be to do that, because this is not going to actually be a face here. Usually try to avoid doing this until I have the shape masked out a little better, but just gonna work on, oops, wrong side. We're just gonna work on one end. Thank God these things are symmetrical, and thank God these things are all identical to each other in the way that, like, I only have to model one car. I don't have to do any A cars or B cars or anything like that, which is just a huge time sink. Hey, Bad Peanuts here. How are you doing? We're coming up on a year since Berlin. It's crazy to think. Anyway, grabbing all these now, pulling them up to here. So the top of the door is now something that we have marked off. Because, actually, shoot, how do I want to do this? So you can see here, it's sort of a complicated shape that it always takes me a little while to kind of get a grasp on how these things are actually shaped. Because this whole section, I don't know if you can see it with I'm tracing it with my mouse. This whole kind of top clerestory, I don't know how you pronounce that, but this whole section is actually flat. Whoops. And you can see that here. So from the top of the car, it's flat, and then it cuts into this angled, beveled front. But all these pieces line up at slightly different heights. Like on the corners here, this like little inset corner, if I zoom in here, you can see this ends like low at the top of the window frame here, and then these windows are a little higher, and then this is a little higher. Then we have this gap, and you can see the two kind of, the angle actually ends at the inside of the door frame here, and then this part's flat. So you ask, is this a speedrun challenge or just for fun? Sort of just for fun. I just wanted to see every once in a while when I have not a ton of stuff to do in a day. I want to see, I used to make assets like a day each back when they were really non-detailed and really bland, but that's sort of definitely a relic that it is very hard to do full assets in a single day anymore, but it's a fun challenge to try to get to do. Usually I burn out on them pretty quick though. But the hope with this one is maybe I can avoid that. So these guys need to stay straight. What would be my best way here? I might get rid because I got to cap this over. I have to do that. So if I do that, and I reverse my normal there, merge my verts. No, building is too small. If I do that, okay, there we go. So now, whoops, I actually want to reverse these both. Reverse the wrong one. So it needs to be a bottom from there. So now this whole thing, there we go. I think that's the first step. Because this whole thing can now come up to here, which is the next like chunk of this. You guys can't see the cursor. I will hopefully figure that out. Part of the problem is I'm streaming at 1080, but doing this at 4K on my 4K monitor, so it's gonna be a little hard. All right, so these guys come back slightly to stay coplanar. With that, awesome. See the cursor? It's very small, probably can't on a phone. Yeah, I'll figure out a better way to demonstrate some of this stuff in the future then. Sorry about that. Let me just do this. This is probably not the best idea in the world to be trying to trim some verts right now so early, but my building, I don't know why this is working this way. Merge. No, I don't want to actually merge like that. Merge. Right, there we go. You can tell it's merging because it breaks shading, and Maya, this very big fancy piece of software, can't deal with that. Those edges to soften. Great. Turn my display off. All right, so with this lined up, I always hate adding a bunch of extra faces, but I think that might be the best idea. So now I'm cutting it in half even more to try to get this loop in. How does that actually work on the real thing? This is a great photo because it's yellow. Okay, so it turns out a lot, God, that's a keep getting an itch on my nose. My hair is super long right now, and it was a piece of hair on my nose, which is crazy. So the fact that this is bright yellow helps a ton. It looks like a lot of like the full lines on this spec sheet are just incredibly subtle little metal plates that I don't have to worry about, which is pretty funny. So that's useful to me, actually. That's pretty hugely useful. Yeah. Cool, so I can ignore those. And oh, that was not quite the actual question that I had. Great. So this is accurate. It's actually right in the middle of these, which is annoying. It's annoying. Equal distance from an edge. So I think right there is good. Now what I can do, just for starters here, and you can come up as well. So you can see we're now, there we go. So this has kind of unlocked the shape for us a little bit. This face, so this is where things get a little funky. I don't really want to cut like that. I would like to actually multi-cut you. Is it really this low? Okay. So that's something I can do. And now I will just do that. Hello. I don't know why that's... Any weird faces or weird crappy geometry? I do. So you can see I've got all these junky double faces in here that I do not want. There we go. So now that geometry is a little bit better. I'll just do that. So that's some triangles, which are awesome, but whatever, it's fine. Here. Now it's quads. Probably, this is City Skylines, so I probably don't need to be thinking so hard about topology. But we'll see. It all helps kind of reinforce this nice curve. It's supposed to be a nice curve. And I don't need it. Not yet, at least. These are always a little scary to me because it's a great showcase of how sketchy and unprofessional some of my modeling techniques are. Cool. So now with that cut there, we can basically do that, which is good. Now we can lower that down slightly. And these guys now come up. And then they'll come up again. Oops. Come up again. And I can do the top of the roof here. And then this can come out. And now we're starting to get somewhere, right? Check it out. But you can see here, these guys need to be scaled flat because they're flat. And now, if I unpin my component pivot, this comes down to, it looks like right about there, right underneath the destination sign. Slightly underneath, so I'll give it a little bit of wiggle room. There we go. And now we'll bridge these. Whoops. Bridge, bridge. Cool. So that's our front shape, and it's a neat kind of weird little shape, but you can kind of, it gives a lot of the very nice like vintage vibes that I want, well, that are really necessary for this vintage project. So I'll add a loop there to arch the roof. I think that's kind of the base of the car, pretty well set. Actually, you know what? Let me bevel that. I think I could add... I'm becoming a little less polygon conscious lately, just because I want these to look nice. That is an end gone over there. This actually doesn't matter because this is all going to be the inside of the car. So I can delete all of that. That edge doesn't do anything. Why is it merging some of these things that I don't want? Cool. All right, so that does not attach there. Actually, you know what? That's the play then. Merge those. Okay, cool. So now we've got a little cleaner topology. Not that it matters too much on this. Oh no, wait, that's an end gun now. Shoot, how did I get that wrong? Oh, that's why. That's a rough quad there. This guy, but it'll subdivide like that, hopefully. In fact, you know, I will just subdivide it like that. Probably not the best topology. Sorry, I really should not be caring that much about topology. There. Shit, that's still a... Damn it. There we go. I've been trying to professionalize my modeling a little bit, so getting clean loops like that is useful. I want to see if I can sort of get any of these get any of these models so I can like later go in, subdivide them, and make them much nicer, and maybe sell them or do something. I'm curious as to what that triangle thing is here. So yes, will this stream be available later? Probably. It's a nice benefit to have it later, because I was thinking if I just do a model completely front to back on stream, that will hopefully be helpful for people. So I get, you know, one of my most frequently asked questions is for modeling tutorials and things like that. So yeah, this one I'll try to keep available so you can use it. Crap. Okay, so all these things. So that's a handrail. Honestly, parsing the blueprints is one of the hard parts of the whole process. Harder parts of the whole process. So these are good. This is already on the inside. So let me inset my door here. How deep? It's pretty deep, right? Yeah. It's like about that distance. This is obviously only half the door, so it looks twice as deep as it really is. But I'll do that, and that one can stay. And it will be covered up later along the bottom. Oh, actually, it should be a little shorter. All right, hold up. Gotta add an edge loop here. Oops. Equal distance from my bottom edge. Here. There we go. Now my door goes in. And I'll just put it into there. Cool. Now I can delete those edges that I don't need. And this is not great. So I think my best bet... What is this? If I pull that vert up to here. Okay, so that's the very bottom of the sign. Has this like diagonal forward piece. Yeah, so I say edge flow is super important. It definitely is. If I was doing this like at any sort of scale, or if I wanted to do anything else with my models other than cities, which is why I'm trying to take more care of it. Okay, so this seems to go... Okay, it's shorter, I think. Oh, no, it's just an optical illusion. Cool. So it seems to be start a little higher up and be shorter. So I can pull this up. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So I can now kind of do this, and I'll do that. I really started to care much more about edge flow when I was doing the airplanes, which for those, it's much more important. There we go. So that, and if I kind of boost it up a little bit, I'll boost this one up too. I'm gonna boost these up. That's good. And this actually comes out even farther, so I'll do that. It's a weird sort of thing. Kind of want to do it like that. And then I can merge some of these words. Not like that. It's very weird. My merge tool is all weird. There we go. 005 should hopefully do it. It still did. This is like normally how small I work. I'm very confused. Merge, merge. Here's your 2. No, here's your 1. Nope. Good point to do the 1. There we go. Okay. Hopefully that works. So let me just check on the photos now. This is a good one for that section. I don't quite have the shape right. So it stays flat. It just keeps going is the thing. So that's what I have to do. Something more like that. Okay, cool. That helps me actually, because that means I can do that and that, and to kind of undo that extrusion. And the actual way I should do this is like that, and then pull this edge in until that's coplanar. Much better. Well, almost much better. Pull that up until that edge is straight. Good. That's my... I don't know what the heck this would be, like little awning roof thingy. No idea what the way to describe this would be. Actually, I think I'll do that just to reinforce that edge. Okay. Soft and hard edge display. All right. Soften, soften. Yeah, I'm just gonna do it automatically first. Harden these guys. Sorry about the helicopter. Harden you. I think I'll need to harden you. No? Kind of rises. So I've cut the wrong way. I want to do that. And that's my hardened edge. Harden, harden. There we go. See, that one stays hard. You get hardened. There we go. That's looking pretty nice, if I do say so myself. Cool. So that's a big chunk of that taken care of. Awesome. Yeah, just a little lip. UCS, proper edge flow should not be neglected, nor should poly count. Yeah, it definitely shouldn't be neglected, but it's not as critical, right? This is a little messy up here. I should probably continue these loops up. Actually, you know what? I will do that. I don't need to terminate that loop there. On the bottom, probably, but here it actually would make sense to use that on the roof. There we go. And you know what? I can Damn it, you've inspired me to be responsible with my modeling. Because I can use it to get a little more detail. So I've started using the Maya's automatic edge flow tools quite a bit. It's really useful to help get kind of nice smooth shapes like that. I really started to use that when I was working on the airplanes, and it's just been such a huge benefit since then. So you always got to be a little careful here. Make sure everything on the front of this thing is coplanar. Cool. Neat. That's true. If I start cutting corners in cities, I start getting sloppy everywhere else. That is true. And that's why I'm wanting to do this. Actually, wait. I don't need that loop. Yuck. I don't need that. This would create some pinching, but I don't think it's too bad. Merge. 0.00. Alright, I don't know why this is like this, so I'm gonna dive in and grab a similarly sized car, the state-of-the-art car, which obviously comes in at full scale. I love how this thing turned out. I'm so happy about it. If you guys want to... so few people have been using it, and it's so sad to me. Oh, that's weird. There we go. Alright, so now I need to realign my center. Good. And now I'll need to shrink this down to match the rescale. So obviously these two trains both operated in the same tunnels, almost contemporaneously. So just need to check. My state-of-the-art car might be a little narrow. So yes, am I going for Salt Lake? No, I'm not. I'm in New York City. Flux is in Salt Lake. Flux Trans. Cool. So the other modeling detail I noticed from my images is that the inside, this corner is rounded. Ooh, we've got that. Was that on all of them? It was. I didn't notice that before. Great. Wait, hang on. This is one of those things. Is it because it's inconsistent? I've got the same picture opened 3 times now. And I closed out of my nice window for this. Okay, phew, thank God. This is flat. There's just like a little bar on the pantograph gates and then 2 little boxes for, I think those are marker lights or tail lights. I'll pull pictures for those later. Anyway. Cool. So, okay, there they are. All right, so to round these corners, I try to avoid just doing the, the obvious way, which is just bevel, because that leaves some, or it can leave some questionable geometry. I want to do two subdivs too to get that. But I actually think that right here, right now, I can take care of it just with the bevel. Oops. So, I have a feeling my camera. Blah. I think my camera's a little screwy for some reason. Okay, I can do that, and now I can. Sorry to everybody who I was talking about edge flow before. This is a little messy. That's an N-gun too. You at least can just be cut straight across. Wireframe. Whatever. Haven't UV'd yet, so I can get away with this. You all cut straight across. Merge, merge. 0.001. Cool. So that takes care of that little curve on the bottom. Also, I want to check my edges. Harden you. Soften you. Soften that to really get that bevel. Doing some work for me. Excellent. All right. So that's again a little bit of messy topology. That's what I'll do there. Can do that there. That actually takes care of nearly everything if I do that. Merge, merge. Cool. So for the person who is watching this or hoping to watch it later for the tutorial, hopefully this is a good, not excuse, but a good showcase of why I don't usually do tutorials for stuff like this, because it's boring. Wait, really? That was Maya. Then why are you displaying this like so brokenly? You really look like you're broken here. You I can soften. Right? What is that edge being like occluded by? It's the camera? Weird. It really looks like Maya thinks this is bad. Bad geometry. Oops. Quad, try. Yeah, it's good geometry, Maya. You can shut the hell up. Quads and tries, good. Cool. So that looks good there. I need to save this, actually, for the first time, terrifyingly. I'm still very, very bad at remembering to save. R9 subway car, great. Learning's not exciting. Well, yeah, but I don't know. I always feel like if I were to just show something modeled front to back, it's useful, but there's so much specific stuff, and like if I curate and kind of explain different parts differently. Oops, I missed a phone call. Uh-oh. Hang on one second. Should have been paying attention. You guys probably heard my phone going off, and I didn't. Let's see. I should get a voicemail transcription pretty soon. Anyway, I'll check that later. But yeah, so this is a quarter of the car. Could use some doors. It's time to get a little funky. So if I do that, that sets me up nicely for some doors. So it's therapeutic. All right, great. I'll take that. So this is really what I use beveling most for, is just to get to, whoops, not 2, 1. Whatever, 0.5. Great. So now I know these two are both exactly the same distance from the center line of the door. Now whether that matters because the plans are accurate or not, nobody knows. Okay, so the doors are flat planes. I could maybe extrude the windows in. I usually don't extrude windows in. I could start doing it though. It just depends. I got my start with like modern flesh fit stuff, but because these are manual drop sash windows, I might model them out. Cool. The bottom of the door is a little higher than everything else, because of course it is. But I think that's reflected on my thing. Yeah. Okay. And you know what? It's actually right there. So here is actually a very useful trick. And if you want to model for City Skylines, think about this. So these doors have this curved top. I've been using this technique a lot with Presidio-based stuff because everything's curved in with old-timey and modern, to be fair. So I'm just going to rough it in like this. Or actually, not even. I'm going to leave this straight. And then just to be kind to everybody who cares about poly count, I will zip that up. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring an extra face straight down and keep it aligned with the subway car like this. So what that lets me do is that this will become an alpha face. So if you look super up close, you'll be able to tell it doesn't work this way. I think I did it on the state-of-the-art car. No, that one I actually modeled. Why did I do that? That one I modeled. Okay, well, I know I did it on my other cars. So a lot of reason, and this will be stupid now, but a lot of the reason why I am kind of going back through a lot of this stuff is to try and implement some consistent techniques and style stuff. I've noticed my style has drifted. 0.01 across all these, and I want very much to have everything be a consistent level of detail. I still think these two look close enough together to look like they're from the same person. Obviously they're different styles of car and everything, but yeah, anyway. With this one you could see these were I guess small enough radius that I just chopped them up and beveled them. Why did I do that? This was actually an old, even though it came out afterwards, I modeled this before, so we'll see. It's barely noticeable, but this has this extra thing which creates a lot of triangles. This gets almost the same look once it's textured, just with this one face. So I do this, and then because City Skylines lets you do an alpha map, I'll just alpha map the curve. So I'll only use a very small amount of this face. The rest will be alpha'd away. But that lets me, you know, and you genuinely, you can't tell from like this distance, which that's already so close up. This distance here, I'll make it a little bigger. But like, see all this to get this little curve in? It looks nice, but from here, I can actually get a smoother curve with an alpha and using only one face instead of a whole bunch. That also means I've got, you know, cleaner doors that they're easier to texture and whatever. So that's what I'm gonna do here. I've just extruded the doors in and then brought this face back over the top, and that will help me take care of that. So that's really useful. In terms of the windows on this, with the drop sash, you know what? It's time. For this, they're deep enough in there. I don't know. I'm so split. I'm so split. Please. I don't know what I should do. I don't know what to do. Huh. Because on this one, which I understand this is later and it's been converted to a work car, they're much flatter. You know what? I've been doing drop sash. I'm going for consistency. I've been doing drop sash windows, without extruding them in on the other trains. So all the Presidio-based stuff just has normal windows. So I'll do that here. If you guys want to see, actually, I'll show you what I've been working on for Presidio Bay. These streams always get me distracted, but it's pretty useful to have. It's pretty useful a lot of the time to have my most recent asset. 0.01. Cool. And you know, these are almost contemporaneous. So this is an interurban car, which is really cool. So these actually ran on the street, which is why they're a little shorter. But yeah, it's neat. But this, you can see very flat sides. This has the same sort of drop windows. So yeah. So it seems like a slightly bodgy way of doing it. Oh, for sure. The alpha map thing totally is. But I'm using alpha map stuff anyway for things like ladders, or at least they used to. I think this has, that's right, this has an alpha map for the MTA little logo decal. And yeah, it's definitely not the most responsible way, I guess. And if you look up close, you know, it's not quite the right shape, but oh god, excuse me. It's one of those things. It's really close enough. And this actually, honestly, if you look closely, it looks like it just like a fairing almost, or some sort of thing. You can't quite tell, but I'm not 100% sure that that's a smooth curve in there. So we'll see. It's a useful little hack, I suppose. A lot of people do that for cities, also because, you know, if you look up close with this, it looks curved and it suggests a curve, but it's still angled at the end of the day. You can get really, the way that Cities interprets the alpha in a texture makes it a really nice curve. So a lot of people will, let's say, do a wheel like this. I think this is a 10-sided wheel. How many tries? 40? Yeah, I think that means it's 10-sided. So 10-sided wheel here. And what they'll do is they will delete these faces and then put a big square face over the end and alpha map it to be a perfect circle. That lets you really get away with a lot, and you can have a pretty angled wheel, but if there's a circular plate on the front of it, it looks really nice and round. Ronix does that a lot, and his wheels and things are the absolute best looking that I think anybody really makes. So totally agree. It's kind of a bodgy way, little bodge job sort of thing. Actually, yeah. Sorry, I keep going back to want to fix some topologies. What is happening with this chill hop playlist? There we go. So that's a little cleaner, some fewer triangles. Anyway, cool. So now I need to duplicate this exact door setup later. So again, maybe not the most efficient way to do this. I'm sure there are ways to manage it with actual tools made for repetition of mesh components, but this one works for me. So I'm just gonna, especially before I VV'd. So because I know these are all straight, I can just line them up. That's obviously too close, but now that this is aligned vertically, I can scoot it back to where my door lines up perfectly. And now I can vert, pull that to here, grab this row of verts, pull it to here, combine my meshes, delete all my history, just give me the Lambert verts, merge them. See, I'm so confused as to why that doesn't work. And now I can delete this edge. And there we go. I've got two identical doors perfectly placed right next to each other. So there we go. That's awesome. It's coming along. Let me see if I can get that voice. Awesome. Just put it there. And I think that's really the base of the car taken care of. So I will now start to mirror. Don't merge anything. Trust it. I merge them myself. And that should be soft everywhere. Nice. This is really looking good. I'm so thrilled. A lot of divisions on the roof, though. I might clean some of those up. I don't know if I need all of them. But it looks good. That's the hard part, is I used to kind of hide behind some low poly stuff. and be like, oh, don't worry, it's fine. Just because I was not a tremendously experienced modeler. But now that I'm better at it, I want to go hire poly and be like, oh, look, you know, I've got this beautiful curved roof. Let's keep doing it. But also at the end of the day, this is 1,200 triangles just for the car body, and the car body is usually the least triangle intensive part of the whole thing. Like down here on the bottom of the car, there's no reason for all these edges in City Skylines. So I'll usually wait. Once I'm done with all the modeling, I'll go through and do a quick pass of the whole thing. Here, let me actually, there we go. If I turn on ambient occlusion, a little SSAO, you can see it's nicer. It's turning out. So I've got our car body done. Nice four doors. It's a symmetrical car, thank God. It's not quite lined up all the way. I'm personally going to blame just small inconsistencies, so let me just shrink it down by 3/1000ths. Reset my pivot. There we go. So now it lines up more consistently. Cool. So he says, what are you going to do after most of the New York City subway cars Metro overhaul mod are done? Well, after that, I'm going to be continuing with Presidio Bay stuff. And honestly, I know this will probably be disappointing for a lot of people. Once I finish the New York City fleet and do some specific vintage cars that I like, I'll probably do these R9s. I'll probably do the low Vs. I mean, I'll probably do these R9s. I'm doing the R9s right now, and I'll probably do the low Vs. But that'll probably be it for me for subways and metro stuff. I know a handful of people want to see like BART car. Well, I'll probably do BART. I will definitely do BART cars for Presidio Bay, but that's gonna be it for me for subways. Let me see. I need to check my photo. Okay, these are 2D little. They're 2D. I mean, they're 3D in real life, but they're just small. I assume extra bracing. So I will do those as extrusions. So let me widen this to match. Shift it over. Cool. There we go. Nice and thin. I'm realizing now these are symmetrical, of course. So it's time to unmirror this. Should have done this before. I'm always so confused as to why these are angled and shaped this way. It's very strange. I don't know what these should do. I'm sure I could ask somebody. There we go. Now I'll just pull these in, and good. There we go. Ah, look at that. Now it's looking way better. But yeah, anyway, back to what I was saying before. Honestly, whoops. I think really I'm going to be going back through all my existing models and adding a few more, specifically New York, and specifically, obviously, everything I need for Presidio Bay. And then I'm probably going to kind of wrap things up for me doing modding for City Skylines. It's been awesome for a really long time, but I guess with the exception of commissions and things, which I'll still be open for. And who knows? This is just how I'm thinking right now, but the workshop now and the downvotes and things, and you know, not to get too negative on this, but just not quite as many people are playing the game anymore. and it's kind of sad. Sorry, I'm trying to do two things at once. You know, I released stuff recently to very few downloads, comparatively speaking. Oops. Let's look at this. Somebody finally tracked down the bug for me, which is super helpful. But like the state-of-the-art car, less than 1,000 subscribers. I understand it's kind of a niche thing. This thing got a bunch of downvotes when it came out too. It's back up now, but like less than 1,000. R142. Okay, 4,500. That was pretty good. But like, it's been a little slow out there. Less than 1,000. And obviously, I haven't been posting as much as I used to. But back in the old days, I could get tons of downloads. These have obviously been around for a long time. But this, like, 20,000. Wow, really? Only 6,000? Huh. Okay. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe this turns it around. You can see all this old stuff I've hidden. God, I need to redo those Amtrak ones really badly. But it feels less likely you're going to come out with something that really gets a ton of downloads, 12,000. It's not that bad. God, this thing is junk. This is on my list of things to redo. I want to redo all the Amtrak stuff. That's disgusting. That's horrible. Oh, God. Awful. But yeah, so I mean, I'm going to be kept busy. I'm sure some of you guys have seen this list, but at least just for passenger trains, I have a few more that I want to make or redo. I can't zoom in, unfortunately. Can I zoom in? No. But this is 45 different trains that I all want to do. It's a lot of them reuse parts, which is awesome, but I'm going to be redoing and God, excuse me. I'm going to be redoing a bunch of stuff, expanding a bunch of stuff. I think these are all existing assets that I would be revamping. But I want to try to do them a little more thoroughly, so I want to get like New Jersey Transit style Comet 5 cab cars. I've got one that uses the ACS with Comet 5, so that would be like SEPTA, and I know they're not quite using Comet 5s, but something similar. It'll also be sort of like the Mark HHP8 hauled things. Charger with Comet 5s to be, I forget what, these are all specifically done, but I'd have to look up who's using chargers with single level equipment now. Yeah, it's also Mark with Comet 5s just as a stand-in. But yeah, so looking down all these, I want to do Aero 3s, finish out the Long Island Railroad stuff, and bring them all up to snuff in terms of quality. And, you know, there's some oddballs. I want to do the F59 PHI with the old smooth side cars from North Carolina. I want to do more stuff with like Amtrak Midwest, which will have Venture coaches and Horizon Fleet cars. Superliner regionals with the California cars and with the F59, the SC44. Classic Evergreen, which is kind of what I have now with the Cabbage and the Talgo 6 with the fins, but then also the modern one with the Talgo 8 with the cab car and the no fins. Also, now that I've done all the Bud cars and things, I've also almost finished an LRC, which is really cool. So I want to try to do some Canadian equipment. I've got the Bud cars, so I just need to revamp the F40PH to have the new Canadian rebuilds, and then I can do the Canadian, which will be really cool. I want to do the Brightline equipment, which once I have Venture cars done, it'll be pretty easy. And of course, you know, Superliners to redo them, ACS, P42. But like, I really figured I can get, you know, 40 trains out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, here, hang on. 40 trains out of, what is this? Out of 15 locomotives, including some cars, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So it's like 30 models. I get 45 cars or trains out of, some of which are multiples and really interesting. So like when I say I'm just going to be going back through my old stuff, I'm going to be expanding it and reworking it to make it better. Obviously, again, Presidio Bay is not going away anytime soon, so it's going to be around. So we'll have that. Cool. I think the car body is pretty much done here. Because I don't want to have to do the trucks right now. Let's look at... Cool. Alright, so these are very slim. What a weird design. Oh god, this keeps confusing me. It keeps looking like this is back farther. It's straight and there's like a flat metal piece. It's just... Cool. God, I've lost Maya now. Cool. So let's grab the pantograph gates. Let's grab some of the marker light stuff. This is a marker light. This will be the lower marker light box, which thankfully is on the plans. So no guessing or anything required. Get this exactly right. Perfect. And it's even right there. Wow, I got it. Very close. Cool. So you just kind of sink it back in very slightly and bring this edge up to save the tiniest amount of room, but room nonetheless on the texture sheet. So that's good. I'm just going to do one corner of it for now, because obviously all this will be repeated. Awesome. Hang on, sorry, I just gotta check my messages again. Still working on it, okay. Anyway, cool. So marker light box, easy. Now, I forget which cars, I think it was the R40s, not the... Obviously, these don't have pantograph gates. I've done pantograph gates like this before, but I think I should do new ones for this. So these can sometimes be pretty surprisingly triangle intensive, just because they're very curvy and uniquely shaped and thin. So they're not large, but they sort of look it. Look at the photos. You can sort of see it's one piece of steel kind of curled over on the sides, which is useful to know. We've got nice broad curves. This is annoying. For me, is modeling it now, the fact that it's flat and the flat intersects the curve right at the corner. Why couldn't it have just had a flat section and then curved? Anyway, that'll be an extra few triangles to try to get that shape right. Thankfully, these are kind of nice, broad, partial curves anyway, so it's not the end of the world. So that's good there. What I can do here is extrude them top and bottom and kind of taper them in some and bring them back some. Just trying to get the just get a suggestion of it being curved, because again, like, City Skylines is this weird sort of thing where it's the viewing distance is, it's weird. I don't really know a better way to put it, but like 99% of the time you're playing this game from bird's eye view, 200 miles off the ground. Like, not a chance you're going to see tiny details like this. Like, I may even not need to put pantograph gates on for most people, but there's absolutely a kind of group of people, me included, who will get so up close to these that, you know, not including the specific shape of the metal of the pantograph gates is bad. So it's always a weird kind of compromise. Hi from Chile. Hi from Brooklyn, New York. That's awesome. I'm glad I'm streaming at a time where people from like Chile can hang out. I thought I saw a hi from India as well earlier, which is super cool. Cool. So I think this is probably the right amount of detail for these. I know some people, and like it's so weird to me, but like some people go and spend a ton of triangles and a ton of time as well, which really triangles are the least of the concern, but a ton of time modeling out like horns on the top of a train. And I just don't think people ever look at the top of a train that closely, but also I know I'm wrong. Like I know for sure people will do that. So like even this, like I wanna, let me add a loop in here and edit my edge flow. Yep, exactly what I wanted. How did you know? But like this to me is just wild detail to have to smooth this out, but people want it. And I totally respect it, because you know, for a platform view, it's useful to have it. It's just it's such a weird kind of state to figure out what detail to model. Hello from near London. That's very cool. I was in London about this time last year. I had such a nice time. I miss it so much. It's man, I wish I could be back. Sucks. Had a lot of great travel plans for this year, and you know, of course, not going to happen. Cool. All right, so these guys pretty much go like that, and now I just need to grab my verts and pull my angled piece there, and I'm gonna make you slightly curved because it seems like they are slightly curved. Awesome. Whoops. Ah, damn it. It almost looks like I haven't been using Maya for however many years I have been. Embarrassingly. I think these guys could probably pinch in a little closer. These guys look pretty good. What happened to Metro Overhaul Mod? It's still around. I don't know what everybody's asking. What happened to Metro Overhaul Mod? It's still there. It's still useful. I know obviously you don't need Metro Overhaul Mod to get just the very core of getting metros into your city anymore, but it's still around. It's got local tracks, express tracks still, which the vanilla game doesn't have. It's got a whole bunch of good stuff. Like, everybody kept saying Metro Overhaul is dead, and it's not. I don't know why. It's not even broken as far as I know. Like, I'm still using it. We're using Presidio Bay because the modern tracks are not great. Or the modern tracks from vanilla are not great, rather. He says, New York's more bad, no more Nova Bus, no more Toys R Us in Times Square, no more Old South Ferry. It's lost its charm a bit. I don't know. I was on those Nova buses. Those sucked. And if they were inaccessible and like, I definitely agree. There's some spots where charm is lost. I'd love to see Old South Ferry reopened as like Transit Museum Annex or something like that. Or just some way to get down there because it's such a cool spot. But it was loud. It was not useful as a train station anymore. The new terminal is, you know, I agree. It's a little bland. I think it's hard to argue that it's not bland in comparison. But you know, for the Nova bus, like that was, you can't have high floor buses anymore. You can't. You know how long that took to get somebody who needed wheelchair access to that? That's just awful. So they sent them off. The museum has some. They'll be fun in little museum events and things in the future. But I'm glad they're gone. I feel the same way with the R32 subway cars, which are cool and definitely have some like some charm, but I'm looking forward to the 179s coming back into service properly, as long as they're good and tested and everything. Metro Overhaul mod has some bugs. I mean, it does, probably. We're still working on it. Like, there's still updates for it and things. There hasn't been one in a little while, just because we haven't really been reported any like huge substantial bugs. But yeah, all right, so this is gonna require some photo research. Okay, so it's like a little metal plate, goes all the way to the corner and almost all the way to the edge. Why it exists, I don't know. I don't know what this little metal plate is, but it's neat. And it looks like it comes out just above the little marker light headlight box thingy. I'll do that, and that. And I think I need to bevel these edges. Whoops. Let me bevel them. 2 segments, please. Turn the fraction down a little bit. Just make sure that that covers this marker light box thingy completely, because I'm pretty sure that's sort of what it's for. All right, now we can just deal with these. I love doing little double bevels like this, because you can just chop them off and you're back to good topology. Well, it takes a little more than just chopping off, but virtually just chop them off. Just do that. And then that, and then that, and that. These pieces, actually, I do know what they are. Almost unbelievably, these are little steps for the conductor to stand on. I'm going to make it a little more chunky just to highlight it and make it more visible for people who are using it. These are little steps that the conductor will stand on in the train, or to like make station announcements and things. And they'll climb out and they'll stand on these, which is absurd to me. It's just crazy. Cool. So that's modeled out now, which is good. Let's do another one of my favorite tricks, just back-to-back alpha maps. So I grab a cube and bang. If you make it real thin, this is back-to-back pieces for the alpha here, or to not require an alpha map on this. And you just go back-to-back, 2D planes, but they will work perfectly here. Because we're just doing this. Just doing this. These are going to be what connect, just the little scissor pieces that connect the pantograph gate to its spring thingy here. You should really learn what these are called before streaming something where I make them, right? Just that, and then pull it down a little bit on that side to have it line up. Good. And now I'll do this, and then I'll do this. Do they go, is there a vertical beam between? No, of course not. That would mean they wouldn't work as pantograph gates. Now I'll grab all 3, multi-cut. Should actually probably all end a little sooner. Great. So now I can grab faces from all 3, delete them. Now I just need to grab the top and bottom, multi-cut, right in the center. Cut them. Oops. Delete that half and that half. And now these three can be duplicated and rotated 180 degrees. And it didn't work. Hold on. Why is that so much farther forward? Oh, crap. Got my dimensions wrong. That's what that little cutout even is for, huh? Yup. Great. Screwed it up. Hold on. So you actually go there. Come up a little bit. Ha. That will do it. So let me delete these. Whoops. Let me delete that and this. That explains some stuff. Aha. You can kind of tuck in over here. And you guys are actually, whoops, are angled out a little bit, it turns out. Cool. Hey, Approach Medium's here. How you doing, man? Welcome to some modeling. I mean, see, you've been doing some awesome modeling for trains lately. I was been seeing you working on your Discord. I'm still holding out secretly that you might port some of those buildings over to cities at some point. Which, you know, we're sorely missing some of those types of buildings. So what I'm doing now is working on the pantograph gates. Just sort of a quick way to do it. With these, it's actually not quite the way that would work best. They're all rotating locally still, which I don't want. I would like them to rotate globally. I don't want to have to, fuck, screw it. My center pivot. Oops. Now I want to flip them and re-angle them. Perfect. So as you can see now, these are just little alpha faces. And there's nothing actually connecting them. So the game will cull the backsides of all of these. So it'll just appear as a little 2D plane. My verts here and world. Oh yeah, they're already coplanar. Shoot. Hang on. Don't prevent negative scale. That's not gonna work. Damn. As long as I can overlap them slightly, and now I can kind of, oops, bring them a little closer, as if they were touching. So these will look a little thin from up close, but I think it's worth saving the triangles. Yeah. Oh, I was supposed to just open CS, actually. All right. Let me know, seriously. You've got all those great industrial, like, and I mean this in the nicest way possible. You've already made all these great boring buildings. Nobody else. It's like only Ivania makes like really nice boring industrial buildings for City Skylines, which of course means that everybody who wants to do one, like the only industry are like the vanilla ones, which are kind of not great, and like big factories and big interesting buildings. We have no like huge variety of warehousing stock or anything like that. That's so important for cities. So if you're interested at all, let me know. I will happily help you out any way you can, just because I need those buildings so bad. I need them. Yeah, if you guys are interested in building stuff at all, in building games and things, check out Approach Medium's awesome work in trains. Oops, I do not need a sphere. He does some really cool builds in that game, and it's made me want to try it. But then also hearing, I think in probably a pretty similar way to me trying to convince him to pick up City Skylines, seeing what you can do with it is so tempting. But also hearing the horror stories of how janky some things are. Like, I'm almost 100% sure if somebody told me how City Skylines stuff works now, I'd be like, no way, I wouldn't play that. That sounds so broken and bad. But it's just one of those things that because I'm used to it, it's okay, right? It's Stockholm Syndrome, and I was trying to make some sort of joke about how Paradox is based in Stockholm, but you know, cool. So these look great, I think. These little pieces. And this is really coming along. So back to the photo, try to determine what the heck some of these are. Oh yeah, we should do those. So up here, we've got little handles. Actually, hang on, before I do that, the headlights are probably the next important part, which aren't on this car. Good to have determined, because we need headlights, and they're not on this either. Were they not? Weird. I don't see any headlights on those. Anyway. Cool. So the headlights, according to this picture, kind of almost semicircular top, not quite. So I'm going to start with a cylinder in the z-axis, and let's do 12. And because they're almost semicircular, here's how I'm going to get my shape. Done. I love it when people design stuff that just happens to be an easy shape to do in a 3D piece of software, especially when 3D software was not even thought of by anybody possibly working on this thing when it was made. There's not even a twinkle in the eye of anything. It's just so far off. All right, so it's not on my blueprints, which makes it a little tricky. It's about the height of the lower marker light above the edge and just in line with that outer row of rivets. So I think it's about here. There we go. Nice. Do you know if City Skylines can work with normal CAD formats for engineering, like SCP? It cannot, actually, unfortunately. It can. It only works with FBX and OBJ, but luckily you can convert most CAD formats into OBJ. It's going to take some work with those files, though. CAD stuff is not really meant for game engine performance in any reasonable way. So if you want to try it, I'd recommend it. I mean, if you're interested, especially if, I'll push you even harder if you're interested in making stuff that would be useful for me, or that I want to see in the game. I know some people, if you guys are familiar with the workshop at all, it can take some work and you'll have to learn some techniques to try to make it more useful. But Astro makes all of her great E-units and things with CAD software. Or at least originally. She then has to bring it through Maya. You can use Blender or whatever you want, really. have to bring it through a different piece of software to do the UVs for texturing and to clean up the geometry and everything. I'm honestly a little surprised. Back in the day, I helped Astro a lot to kind of get started with what she was making, and I was very surprised that her CAD models worked so well. I've had a lot of bad experiences with trying to kind of convert between poly models and CAD models. So I was definitely surprised when it just worked that well for her. So I don't quite know where I'm going with that, but try it. Like, there's only one way to find out. God, I keep forgetting I'm on camera and I'm like, get an itch and have to scratch myself. And I'm just, oh God, wait a minute. That's gross. Oh God, when I have to yawn. Jeez. Anyway, what time is it? 12:41. Cool. So I don't know. I wanted to see if I could do an asset in a day. I have a feeling that's going to be a no, but I'm closer than I thought I was already. The truck is going to be a challenge. And of course, UVing and texturing. But I've developed some techniques for that, of course. As you might expect from somebody who does this as much as I do. So let's do this handle. Is it attached at the top? Yeah, it is. Okay, so it's actually attached at the bottom and at the top, too. So normally I would be trying to find more reference from these things as they were operating, but because I imagine most people will be using these as like a museum train anyway, this time I don't care. So, if people are wanting to see it done as a museum, they're wanting to have this in their game as a museum piece, then that's cool. I'm gonna do that to save some triangles. And I'm gonna do that to save some triangles, because those will be invisible. Just tuck that in and tuck that in. Great. And it had some shaping that I think I can give it for free. So I'll do that. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. So because it has this piece, and I can't quite tell if it actually touches or is so close it may be touching, I'm gonna delete these 10 triangles, maybe 9, and just do that and make this touch. So it kind of doesn't matter. Now it's time, of course. I've been very bad about organization and modeling. Marker, light box. It's time to do the riveting part of naming all my stuff. See, Astro's got skills. She really does. She's making some incredible stuff. They've got a few problems that are a little unfortunate, given the fact that she's spending so much time. And they're definitely as good as anything out there for sure. But yeah, obviously I'm very jealous of doing the bud cars and everything with that great chrome shader. I wanted to do that, but I couldn't get mine to look quite right, and for some of the features that I needed, I couldn't get them to work at all, which is a little sad. So I'm looking at those and I'm just like, oh, all right, Like the Chrome Shade can't do line colors, which I want to make sure that mine can support line colors. I think illumination's a little funky on them. I can't remember. It might just be funky compared. You can't do spinning wheels, so you have to set up a bunch of submeshes and things for that, which means you can't do props easily, which is, you know, there's a whole bunch of different stuff that would screw up my pipeline too much. Oh, damn it. How do streamers do this? Revo's here. Whoa, he is alive. I'm alive. I'm like still active. I posted something like less than 2 weeks ago. I'm more active than I've been in a while. I'm very confused. Alright, so let me grab all my Pandagraph Gate stuff, group it. Pandagraph Gate, and now I can grab everything. Alright, details. Cool. So that's a big chunk of detailing on the right hand side done. And awesomely, I can literally just do that. And that's the end of our R9. Well, you know what I mean by the end of our R9. One thing I've been modeling now is the chains across the front, which this guy does certainly have. I keep clicking Photoshop. Why am I clicking Photoshop all the time? Working in editor for Lego models. I used to do that back in the day. I want to do Lego stuff again, but just hard to find the time, and with where I live in New York City, hard to find the space. You can see some Lego stuff behind me. I've kept up to date on the modular buildings and things, but can't get my old stuff back from out of California. I just don't have the space to store it. So I'm going to do an alpha plane for my big, like, clippy piece here. I don't know. How did I do it on my 142? Lazily. Lazily. It's almost 2 hours done. It means I'll work on 22 hours. I don't know. I'm trying to see how fast it is. I never remember, and this is the weirdest part, but like I can never remember where I'm slow at this. Like, it's stupid. I should really know by now, like, what parts take the most time. But I just know it's not modeling. Usually modeling is pretty fast, which sucks because it's my favorite part of it, of the whole process. But we'll see. I have a feeling this will potentially stall out in UV/texture. And that's when things will really kind of slow down, unfortunately. That looks good here. This always hangs a little bit asymmetrically because of that mount, which I want to actually try to model out for this one. Cool. So we've got that hanging there. I love how this looks. I used to not do this, but it's great. I kept up to date with the modular buildings. I have all of them. I do, Bad Peanut. I do, from Market Street all the way to the bookstore that's on my shelf here. I got into them. I got into them when only Market Street, Cafe Corner, and Greengrocer were retired, and I bought those at huge expense. I was just off my first, like, a summer job that paid me way more than it should have. And I did actually go and buy those 3 used on Bricklink, and it was a lot of money. But I was very stupid. But actually, it turns out I was smart. What the hell? Why is this doing that? There we go. But yeah, I was young and could afford to be reckless with my money like that. And I did. So I have a complete collection of the modular buildings, including the vintage ones now that are even harder to find. So I call them my retirement fund, because maybe someday. But yeah, I've got all of them. 70 Square and the Parisian Restaurant only. Those are 2 of the best ones. I really like those. I wasn't planning on getting all of them, but when I first went and looked for some, I got the first few, built one, fell in love with it. I was like, I must have all of these. Like, it was really stupid. And again, I really shouldn't have done it, but I'm just like, it was amazing. I loved them. And it was a dumb decision. Just snap that way up high. Oops. Oops. But yeah, they're very cool. They were a backdrop to some stop motion projects from back in the day. I don't know if anybody's here. Every once in a while, somebody would be like, "Oh my god, I didn't realize you're the same guy who used to do the stop motion stuff," which I always think is really funny because I have a pretty distinctive name on here. Like, I feel like it probably aren't a lot of Bisquenkelhausens around. But yeah, it's not a dumb decision. It's a very good decision, best decision. Yeah, it's turned out to be a decent decision. I actually went and before I could be retired, I got the Friends Cafe idea set, the Friends TV show one. Even though I'm not a big fan of Friends, the show, but I got it because Cafe Corner needed an interior. I'm like, oh my god, they're never gonna release an interior only like coffee shop cafe like this in the right sort of color scheme and everything. So I picked it up, and once I can rescue Cafe Corner from my closet, from the closet of my old room at my parents' house, I can rescue. I'll have my the full set again, and can throw the Central Perk Cafe into oh my god, the Cafe Corner. Sorry, it turns out I'm so bad at doing these things more than one thing at a time. So bad at it. I don't know why I try. Should do a stream where I'm just making an asset, and then just like a chatting FAQ, a chatting stream separately. I shouldn't try to do both at the same time. All right, edge loop tools. Whoops, I don't want 5. I just want 2. Yeah, this is jazzy. It's like SimCity music. Should I buy a better computer for City Skylines? I don't know. I just did, I guess. I'm still waiting for a new graphics card. But still in for a 3080 to be available. Not that that will really do too much for cities, but it'll also help. I do a little VR stuff, and my old SLI 980s weren't hacking it anymore, and my my new computer that I just got doesn't support SLI on the motherboard, so rip to that. So I'm on a single GTX 980 now, which does not cut the mustard. If you know anything about computers, you'll know that's a pretty old card. All right, so that's looking pretty good. Yeah. And door chain. 8 GB RAM is not good enough for a high detail city. I'm sorry. Sorry to say. You're gonna need at least 16. I'd recommend 32. I just upgraded my computer to an i9-10900K with 64 gigs of RAM. I have cities running 20 to 30 frames per second in Presidio Bay right now, even with my ancient single GTX 980. I'm getting a 1070 at the end of the week just as a bridge in order to have it ready for the eventual 3080. Which I'll sell it later on. Cool. This is really coming along. I'm happy with the results so far, as I should be, because I'm the only one doing this. Nobody else is responsible for it. So if I wasn't happy, it would be a weird situation. I'd highly recommend more RAM. Part of the reason for my PC upgrade, honestly, was because I'd maxed out my old motherboard at 32 gigs of RAM. It's an older. The 980s show you exactly when I built my computer, but I had 4 8 gig sticks on my old board, and my new one I have 2 32 gig sticks and room for 2 more. So I've got some expansion room, which is very important for future projects. With that said, also this went from like my hobby and City Skylines computer and like hobby video editing to now my work computer, because the Mac laptop that I would be given from work, it would be infuriating to have to work with for the sort of animation and stuff I'm doing. So I spent some cash to upgrade, and of course now, yikes, that was expensive, and I haven't even gotten a new graphics card or a new power supply yet. I kept my same case though, because I really liked my case. So these, let me do that, and now I can do that and hold these in 45 degrees or so. Cool. And I can grab my verts here and snap, oops, grab all my verts in here, snap them to there, and now I can grab this edge and snap it to here. Cool, so that is my door tread plate, I'll call it. Nice. God, this is, I don't know, not to sit here and toot my own horn on stream, but this is really turning out very nicely. I am extremely happy with this. I feel how this gotten weird. Cool. All right, so next up, the anti-climber, which is sort of flat, then round in the middle, then flat again. Luckily, I believe that's how this one's shaped. No, that one's more of a solid round. I'm just gonna wing it because I've done anti-climbers this shape before. Yeah, unfortunately for what I do, as much as my boss is a big Apple guy, and would love it if I would use a Mac, but they don't support Adobe very well anymore, because Adobe and NVIDIA are tight, and Apple and NVIDIA got in a big fight a few years ago. So a lot of the acceleration support that I kind of rely on for slightly bigger projects, as well as just what I'm more comfortable with, but a lot of the acceleration support just doesn't exist on Mac, which is of course frustrating for me. Again, like I did on the other side, or on the side door plates, I'm going to delete this off the mesh there, because since this is one piece, and I'm okay with these being separate meshes, I can just and do that, and I'll slide it back when the time comes, obviously. Or I can at the very least extrude it. So, edge loops. I want to do 2 here, 2 here, and then 1 here, 1 here. And now you guys, I would like to edit my edge flow. There we go. So now I've got kind of a nice smooth gradient of anti-climber parts set up. So looking at my picture, they go edge to edge, they go to just behind the little corner here. Chill hop is weird. They've let cool beats to study and relax to go to their heads. Okay, so it gets very, very thin around this corner, which is about what I have. Now back here, I'll just tuck them in for now. Oops. Can do that. Oh yeah. Here, that should have been what I did first. Pull that to the actual angle it's going to be at. And now I can pretty much do that. I think these need to come a little bit forwards to get the kind of straight then curved shape that I need. Seems about right. There we go. Cool. It's turning out. Come on, phone. Oh boy, lots of people pinging me. All right. So I'll just do that. I can actually. So my goal here will be just to basically minimize the amount of extra crap on the texture sheet that I'm going to have to deal with, while still covering all the parts that I have to cover, like that. So that's good for the top, and the bottom honestly needs like less. Though really, base, please. This whole section kind of stops after that. All right, hold on. Gotta hide this. Figure out the best way to do this. Might be to just reconstruct this whole section. Whoops. Oh yeah, I guess I don't need that either. I always model the anti-climbers separately, which is a little weird. Don't forget to save. Yeah, thank you. So you're saying, when's the next City Skylines expansion pack? It's been 6 months since the last one. I don't know. They don't usually tell me. Last time I did. They did. Because I did the videos for them. But, yeah, I don't know. Unfortunately, I'll learn, like usual, pretty much when the rest of you guys do. The hell was I doing now? That's right. I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. And now I would like to do this. I'll just do it to here. Even though most of that will be covered, I'll just do it to there. Cool. And now if I bring the anti-climber back, that covers the gap. And I can just bring all of these bottom pieces on the anti-climber. Just do that. And all of these. And I'll just bring these over for sanity. Just square them up so it's a little cleaner. Cool. So we got our anti-climber. That, my friends, is the end of our R9. Oops. And details. Great. I think it's looking pretty good. High try though, but obviously I'll fix some of that later. Ugh. God, this is gonna look nice. Especially out in the train of a few of these guys. Now we're talking. Cool. Sorry, gotta check on some news and emails and things. There we go. Just joined. What kind of train is this? Is a 1940s, 1930s and 40s New York City subway car. It's an R9. So new cars like the R142, R142, but this is an R9. So nice old one. Inspired really substantially by everybody making cities for Mafia. There we go. I can clean that up. So again, maybe not the best thing. Oh, whoops. I forgot about that. I need to add my edge loop in. And I need to delete that half of the train again. Because I forgot to clean it up. There's a gap here. Yeah, there is. Cool. So I will utilize that gap to delete a whole bunch of edges that I don't need on the bottom of the car. Nice. That's helpful. So that... How much is that? 590. Oops. I'm gonna grab edge, 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 edge. Delete all these edges. 506. So that was 84 triangles just on the bottom. Absolutely no change to the look. Absolutely no change to the mesh at all. And I could just clear that many triangles out. I love that. That'll let me keep the roof. I love how smooth the roof is. Usually don't go that smooth, but it's worth it, I think. This will show you just how doomed I am for when I actually try to delete the edge there. For when I try to standardize stuff, because every time I'm just like sneaking in a little more detail, a little more stuff. Will I be doing some trains with real life liveries in the future? Like the American computer ones, but with real liveries? No, I won't. Sorry. I know a lot of people want them. Wait, did I delete the... Oh no, I just hid the anti-climber. No, I won't. I do the SimRail stuff and do fake liveries. One, because I try to keep everything above board, like license-wise. This is a licensed version of Maya now. I'm using a professional version of Photoshop. And I'm not going to steal any names of things. I know it probably won't do anything or mean anything, but when you upload something to the Steam Workshop, in the terms of service that you agree to, you agree that you own every part of it, which if I was using real-life liveries and things, I would not own, and I would be lying in that legal agreement, and I'd rather not lose my Steam account. And I understand that's paranoid, but it's a risk that I am not going to take. And also, I like doing my own. Like it's a fun part for me, getting to model things out and do fake liveries, and also, it means I'm not spamming the workshop with a ton of real life liveries, and it means everything goes together. So you can have trains like this is a old collection, but because they all say SimRail, even though they're in slightly different schemes, this the streamlined one is obviously modern. This is obviously the Caltrain livery. So some of them are pretty heavily based off of real ones. This is clearly Metro North, but it means you can mix and match, and it'll always look like a real life thing. So if you want to show that your agency has some old F40 PHs but is modernizing to MP36s, you can do that, and you just need to install both of them. They'll have exactly the same cars, they'll match. So this, you can kind of combine your fleet. If it's these two, if you match colors and things, it'll look like it's the same company, just different engines, and I really like that. So if I were to swap them, I'd have to do, tons of different versions for each. And, this same exact train could be the F40PH with the gallery cars would end up having to be uploaded 3 times and maintained 3 times with 3 separate downloads and 3 separate props packs and things. Yeah. So I don't usually want to do that. That's a tricky... it's a little hard, and again, I want to keep things above board and honest. So there's almost no chance that like Union Pacific is going to come down on Evangeline or Astro or anybody, but better safe than sorry. Because this has become my career in some ways, I don't want to risk that. So that's what we're doing. This looks like some of the very old MBTA cars. It's probably pretty similar. So, yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I'm just checking to make sure. I emailed about something on Craigslist the other day, and now or yesterday really, I'm making sure I haven't been reached out to. Do you think there'll be a more urban version of NAR? Because it's currently only gravel, and you cannot change it with network extensions. What do you mean? Even in urban situations, we still use gravel. We still use ballast. Tracks on concrete aren't really a thing in the US. And if you're just meaning to like street run or do that, you can absolutely just put it in and sink it down slightly. So I don't know. There are more versions of NAR planned, but it just depends on time and effort, really. All right, so Next up are the trucks for these guys, which will be fun. Because I need to search for more reference. So let's see if I can find it. So in the Transit Museum, yeah, they've got this, which is exactly what I need. I just need to find some more images of it. It is so exceptionally rare to view all sizes. Can I not? I hate having to do this. This is something I do that is definitely not above board necessarily, but you can't. I'm not using this. I'm not going to re-upload it or use it commercially or anything. I just want to use it for reference. R9. Give me that photo, please. New York Transit Museum. Motor truck. Transit Museum on Wikipedia. Court Street. It's a shame this place is closed, otherwise I'd just go there. I have a membership, so I can go. Events, collection of the Transit Museum. Yeah. Rail vehicles, probably. I'm looking for that truck. It's gotta be here somewhere. If not, if any of you guys happen to have a good picture of that truck in the Transit Museum, I would super appreciate it. Interviewer asks, I'm making low Vs. I'm making the R9s this year. Well, right now. I'll make the low Vs at another point, but want to do something I thought could be quick because I knew there were good plans available online and I knew I could get a picture of this truck. But it turns out that getting the picture of that truck may be a little harder. I can check. Miles, do you have any pictures of this thing from last year when we went? So he's asking, NAR only works in more rural areas. Some users use them in urban stations. They look cool. Don't get me wrong, concrete would be cool. We don't, like, I don't think there will ever be a NAR with, like, concrete track beds and maybe concrete ties, but that's only in, like, a very few spots. It's just not really done in this country. You know, not really useful for stuff like that. God, it would be nice to see this truck. I'm sure I have some pictures, but I'm not ultra comfortable just like popping open my Google Photos on stream. So, Court Street IND Fulton line. Is this gonna? Could this have the truck? Come on. I wish I could just go. Maybe I could ask anybody at the museum to let me in tomorrow. This is what I'm looking for. More pictures of that. Not Norristown high-speed line trucks. Not that. Damn it. Concrete track beds are a thing, so that's definitely a thing here, but it's still not tremendously common. NAR and a lot of what I'm working on. Ooh, is this? This is it. This is it. Hello. Oh, God. I'm fine with that being the preview. Wish it wasn't quite as cropped. There's really leaf springs on this, damn. Transmuseum motor truck. Any luck? Eh. That's way newer. Ooh. Hello, hello, hello. Damn, that's low res. Anyway. Yeah, slab track and direct fixation. Mostly using transit applications. Any steam road applications will be standard ballasted. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. So it's like, at some point, I do want to do some different metro overhaul track for that. I doubt there will be direct fixation, sort of very modern track techniques for. What if I just search Transmuseum? For North American railroads for NAR, because we're trying to stick more to like the real bread and butter American stuff. Really, I'm sorry, I don't really know a better description or a better word for that. But sort of like in the planes packs, I'm not doing any like rare or uncommon jets. I'm still working through those again. I've got the 767 mostly modeled out to do the international revamp. But, you know, it's designed to really kind of capture the right stuff so nobody can, you know, take something that's one of a kind or very locationally specific in real life and use it, you know, all over their city. Yeah. There's concrete ties on ballasted track out there at North American main lines. Yes, that's, that is where we'd be using them. Ooh, all right, let me see. Got chat. Excellent. That's a useful image. Trying to find more pictures of these trucks. We got this guy, which helps see some general stuff. This is a very cool picture. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to paint on the side instead of City of New York, because obviously, again, I want to keep these generic enough that people can use them. This is a transit museum. Yeah, Friends of the Museum thing. Neat. At the Transit Museum Gala. Wish I got invited to that. Anyway. Cool. Looking for this truck still. This is the sort of stuff I used to never bother with. Honestly, my first subways and the B division ones that are still out there have F40PH like EMD Blomberg trucks. Because it's not really something you see a lot, and back in the day, getting a lot of stuff out was more important. Not more important. Getting a lot of stuff out and getting a wide variety was more important to me than getting an absolute ton of hyper accurate stuff. So, I really kind of took some shortcuts with that one. All right, a lot of Transit Museum Gala, Is this last year's? Yeah, it was. That was tricky for them because it was right back to back with when we wanted to do, I think, the anniversary of the subways, which of course that's what they were doing. So we kept the Transit Museum very busy last year with inventing Subway Day and whatnot. I'd really like to find a better picture of this motor truck. If anybody has it, please let me know. Have a side say Metropolitan Subway. That's a great idea. Where are we at now? Modeling of the car body and all of its details is done. I am now looking for reference for the trucks. In particular, the Transit Museum here in New York City has that truck just sitting on the platform for people to look at. And I found a couple pictures, but I know there's better stuff out there. There it is. Ha! I knew it. That'll work. That will work. Excellent. Large, please. Nice and big, too. So got a couple good pictures for reference for that. Not to keep this... I understand this is not necessarily the most riveting stream. out there as I just scroll endlessly. But I want to see. I'm just going to do another like 10. Yeah. Now that we found, when you find one, a lot of times, you know, it's because somebody found it very interesting and took a whole bunch of pictures. So I'm just going to keep scrolling for another couple seconds to see if, you know, the dream reference shot. There we go. See, Jazz Guy here. He found the R1 through 9 motor truck very interesting and is saving my bacon. With good pictures. God, Metro Man. He's still around. I have a coworker who's terrified of that old Metro Man, and I should bring it. I should see if I can borrow it from the museum and bring it to their office. No, they wouldn't let me. Alright, that's it. I'm taking what I can get. I got that picture. This one is less useful than I thought it would be. Jazz Guy. God, he went in 2010. Let me see if he's got his transit museum visit in a nice album. He does. Excellent. Yeah, a lot of projects are in fact finding the right reference. It's lucky for a lot of stuff. It's like a decent amount of stuff I can just go out and do. I think I grabbed these two from him already. Definitely that second one. He's got the contrast cranked way up on these puppies. This is the car that I'm making now on the inside. Oh no, that's a triplex. It's close. Alright, so he got those two, and then he's got some very complex, like weird shots. Down the fuel sizes. Excellent. Excellent. Besides plenty of reference. I'm swimming in reference. I did it. So, here's our car. Somebody asked where we are now. Here it is. Looking pretty nice, if I do say so myself. We've got these little things on each end. We've got the train looking good, feeling right, scaled nicely, set up nicely. And now we'll hide it. Yeah. Alright, all of that work, and we're just gonna hide it. So, I've been scaling up my wheels lately, in terms of fidelity. I like 12-sided wheels. I'm sure Rio's gonna come in laughing at me that I'm so impressed at myself using like these incredibly high fidelity 12-sided wheels. Yeah. Oh well. I don't care. I think they're all the detail anybody needs way down on the bottom of the train is 12-sided wheels. Thank you, Miles. I think it is looking stellar. You have... I cannot stress enough, make friends. If you're interested in City Skylines modeling, make friends with a professional scale modeler like Miles. It's pretty absurd, the quality step that things change from before and after. He started pointing out what details to include. Like, I mean, here, not to continue getting distracted. This was originally going to be a speed run, but as I keep getting distracted, I'm just going to import my before and after here, or my before. So this was my R142 subway before. You can see it's just got some stretched out F40PH trucks. The verts aren't actually even merged correctly. The shape is actually wrong. It's got an arched roof. It's not subdivided nearly enough, and it just looks bad. This, which to be fair, a couple of years later as well, this is the new one, and it's night and day. Like, I think hopefully everybody can tell. It's just got much nicer, better modeled detail. You can see I actually got the roof shape right, which I cannot believe I screwed up before. Like, it's scaled correctly. You can see, like, look at the trucks in comparison. I was using octagon wheels and generic trucks stretched and squished. Now I've got these with third rail shoes, with all the details. It's the correct shapes. The coupler didn't even have an end face, which looked terrible on the ends of trains. These now have correct links there and drawbars on the back, A cars versus B cars. The ladder went from a face with an alpha to being modeled out. It's just incredible, all the stuff that I can now include and make sure of, and that, like, honestly, a lot of it that I see now, thanks to having spent some time talking with and working with Miles. You can also see this ended up being a dumb idea when I realized that the original Metro overhaul tracks, you could never see any trains from the bottom. But now you can. So before I had no bottom faces or back faces on anything, so you could look up through the bottom, which was not great. But now the bottoms are all sealed, which is useful because, you know, Metro overhaul tracks, you can see up through the bottom. So now you can be on the street and watch a train go overhead, and it looks awesome, just as you'd expect. So this is the new level of detail that I'm slowly bringing everything up to. This, and, you know, he helped me so much with this interurban car, which we just got into the game the other day. And it's beautiful, and, like, you can really see, I'm trying to go for similar level of detail between these two. I gotta figure out dimensions, though. I think this is a little small. Yeah, this is imported a little small. Thankfully, this has dimensions written on it, so I'll be able to check later. So they should all be roughly 10 feet wide, but different. Yeah, this feels a little more accurate. But yeah, so anyway, wish I made these models for trains. You'd pay for that. This song is crazy. I'm skipping it. I need to learn a lot about trains, but I'm willing. I'm willing to learn about trains. If we can figure something out for that. Anyway, we'll see. I think the next game, I'm gonna get into making stuff for, might actually be Rolling Line. I've had some issues with the community there for a little while, but I think after I made a little bit of noise about that a week or so ago, and they seem to be working for change, which is exciting, because I think it's a really cool game. And would love to be part of a non-toxic community there. So, we'll see. It's such a cool game. I'm excited to be able to do anything for it, really. Cool. So we've got our wheels and axles, which are good. I'm gonna hide my subway car again. And now it's time for more photo reference stuff. Thankfully, I've already pulled the photos. So I just need to go back into subway trains, B division, revamp, R9. You can see R46 in there. It's because my state-of-the-art car was originally going to be R46, or an R46 model. All right, so I got a lot of good reference there. Okay, so looks like our truck frame, straight across on the top, gets wide at the ends, and then kind of has this little dipping section over the end of it here on the car ends, because is where the coupler would go, and on the back it goes up. Looks like it goes straight across with the brace up. Cool, that's doable. Let's do it. So, fortunately, I don't get truck ends as, whoops. as a piece of reference here, but I can use my photos. The top's just shy of the top of the wheels, and I can see the bearings, so you can see the journal box covers here. These guys. Wow, why are these so dark? But that's you can see the suspension spring here. That you got leaf springs in the middle. Interesting, coils and leaves. Yeah, so almost at the top of the wheels. That I can do. In fact, I think that's a pretty good height already. And because I can see the axles, I know that it's that wide. Because the journal bearings, or the journal boxes, or covers, wherever the hell they are, Miles would know. I'm sure he's sitting here raging, because he absolutely does know. And I'm constantly getting it wrong. Miles, you can come on the stream if you want to. If you got a mic, let me know. Yeah. All right. So, edge loop tool, 2 loops. Good.
You know what? Forget it. You're selfish and you're a liar.
Okay. Chill hop. Accusatory. I don't appreciate that. So, time to get a little messy with some non-manifold geometry. Having breakfast. All right, maybe soon.
And I was a good dreamer.
Just looking to talk, really. I've got the reference I need, I think, for now. All right, it's about the thickness of the wheel outside the wheel. So mine are a little
I don't care if you come back.
a little wide, which of course, this is how I can solve that. There we go. About the thickness of the wheel outside the wheel. And then they kind of past the journal boxes, then they get wider.
Certainly very promising.
So we do that, and now it seems like they get wider symmetrically, which helps me a little bit. So I can do that. And that'll be, this will be the beginning of the part where it gets wider.
What am I supposed to do all day?
Okay. Don't need music with vocal samples. Come on. Alright, now how much lower does it get? Not too much, actually. It's a weird design. Wait, I brought these all up here so I could scroll through them easily. Okay, so it actually does. I think I may have left it a little. I can do that. And this is the whole thing's a little long now, so I can do that. And now broaden these back out a little again. This doesn't quite feel right, but I think it might be, which is weird. This happens every once in a while, where I'll be like, I don't like it, but it turns out that it's correct, which is annoying. It's an annoying thing to have happen, because I'll sit here trying to figure out why I don't like how it's turning out, and I won't get an answer, because it'll be correct. So it's just inside these two. See, it's not... How do I get these models to change to lower poly when I'm further away? Do I have to make individual models, or does the game handle it? Little column A, little column B there. So you do have to make one additional... Well, you don't have to. It is responsible to make an LOD model. So that's one additional model in addition to this main mesh. And that the game will handle turning into a it'll handle when to swap it out. Okay, so let me get my whoops. Okay, mesh, transform component. Okay. Let me just press them in a little closer to my wheels here. Oh, it's not centered. My wheels aren't centered? That might have been it. 4, 4. There we go. See, LED model have 4-sided wheels. LED model actually have even less. So again, as I distract myself, let's do the state-of-the-art car. I go pretty crazy with low detail on the LED models. This, for example, is my LED for the state-of-the-art car. It's 128 triangles. The game recommends about 100, which varies, but really, you know, these two are pretty different models, as you can tell. Just broaden it a little. I did some late changes to the state-of-the-art car model, but like, you know, this one is 3,400 triangles. Now that you can really tell, 'cause it's pretty straight. That sucks. This one is 128. You can see for wheels, I'd literally just do a flat plane for the trucks, and then we'll bake onto them. And then all the underbody material is just a 3-sided sort of box. I probably could have gotten rid of this side, but gotten rid of those two, but I left them. Yeah, I'll just bake the detail all onto them. But it's definitely low poly, but like once you get here, you can't tell. Especially when they're moving, especially when there's tracks obscuring the bottom sections of these, and like once you get to here, you extremely can't tell. So genuinely just dead simple LODs, like usually these in about 3 minutes. Starts as a cube. As soon as a cube, I just kind of added some bevels to, squished out to the right proportions, and then just auto UV these and bake all my textures onto them now. I used to manually map them. Hey Seabud, how are you? Seabud, if you don't know, has been making us some amazing houses and things for Presidio Bay. They're just the best. Progress has been made. Yeah, progress has been made. We've got our whole car body done. I'm working on the trucks. Trucks still looking weird. I don't know why. They're just looking weird to me. I'd like to figure out why they're looking weird. But they're looking weird. Very weird. How do I do these trucks? Okay, that's... I don't know why these are looking so, like... It's odd, and I have no... This is where Miles is very helpful. Can't really figure out what's making... Okay, so we have some vertical framing here. Okay, that's what's unique. That's something. Does that... But that's still lower than that. Okay. We're working through this. All right, that's this height, and then it actually gets wider on this side of the bearing. Phew. Wow, how do we ever lose a lot of it? Yeah, this usually happens. It's lunchtime. People will filter out and typically don't come back, but it's fine. Okay, so I got that shape wrong, and that's fine. So we're gonna try this again. If I wanted to stream for viewers, I'd be streaming Presidio Bay. Lack of sides and further detail. Yeah, it could be that. But there was something just about the part that had been modeled that I was unhappy about. Really? Modify. Let me center my pivot for this, and I don't really need these two anymore. Okay. So we have kind of a thin top section, fairly wide, a little thicker. A little thinner. Okay. A little narrow. A little farther out. Cool. What's the model next to the truck? That was my key system, my wooden interurban car, which should be available pretty soon for patrons of Presidio Bay. Okay, so I'm going to do my same beveling trick. Center these up. Bevel. Cool. That actually seems about the right dimensions. Let me do that. And that again. And then these two. Mesh, transform. And kind of squeeze those in, which is a little closer to their actual shape. I'll do that, and now I'll do that. I'm still making these too long. Right? They don't go very far past the edge of the wheel. So I think my boxes here might be too wide. God, this music. Okay. I don't need to listen to any music called Rick and Morty. Okay. So I can narrow these up some. Raise that. Raise these. There's to spend money for City Skylines assets. They will be made available pretty soon. I've been honestly kind of bad about getting my Presidio Bay assets out to the public. They should be available now, but there's just a lot to do to get them set up for the workshop versus the game. And of course, I'll release them to the workshop and nobody will download them, which is always sad to me. All right, these seem a little better. They're still not quite, there's something with them that's not quite right. Oh yeah, that's right. We knew this already. It's because it's thicker here than it is on the inside. There we go. There we go. That's a little better. Also, is it all a constant thickness? Not quite. This sort of stuff, there we go. That was it. It was the thickness thing. This is, oh, what is this music again? I need a better playlist for streaming. So I'm just frantically Googling chill hop. I plan on streaming until it's done. Probably. I was actually hoping to see if I could sprint and get this whole damn thing done today. It's looking like that may have been optimistic of me. But we'll see still. I don't quite know. It'd be fun. UVing should hopefully be not too hard. But I'll definitely stream at least until the mesh is done, because I think we're actually getting surprisingly close. How big are these leaf springs in the middle? They just barely poke out. I keep opening my Chrome instead. Okay, they just barely poke out. And they are... The best way to describe that with relation to the wheel. They're about roughly as wide as the top of the... I keep opening Photoshop. Okay, looks like about that wide. Pardon the edge. Good. They're a little higher up than that, but not much. Cool. And 80s music is good. 80s music would be nice. I should have found some like 40s music for considering what we're actually building here. Alright, so my rear face of the truck at least, is this kind of more substantial looking thing. Alright, you can see that on the far side there. That's kind of like that. Up a little higher, a little taller even. I wonder if there's like some sort of weird strike plate or something like that. I don't like the way that had turned out, so here's what I'm going to do instead. Didn't mean to do two there. This song is like the Polybridge soundtrack getting all messed up. That's the best way I have to describe it. And then I'll just do that on the edge there. Do I have any pictures of that side of the truck? Probably not. I'm gonna assume it also goes down though. It's probably wrong, but I think beefing this thing up probably doesn't hurt. Now it's starting to look like a truck. Well, a railroad truck. Small gap there, small gap. Cool. So this one's gonna be a little stranger to try to do just because it's way shorter. So I'll just do that. Even though it's not the best. So that'll let me start to drop the edge already there, which is the correct shape for this. And now we'll do this. I does not come forward quite like that. Goes down a fair amount. It's got to clear the coupler. One edge loop. It's actually a pretty good height. There we go. And that's our shape for this. Which we can now mirror. There we go. I'm pretty happy with that. Could use a little bit of collapsing of edges. No, that's supporting something. Okay, maybe not. I don't know. I can definitely remove some, and it feels wide. There we go. Cool. How does that look underneath the car? Oh, centered, of course. How does it look under the car, part of the car that's supposed to be? Yeah, it's looking about right. Excellent. Cool. Good evening, Super Toby. Alright, next thing. So we've got our big, huge motor units in the middle. And those go to the frame elements just inside the springs. They seem to be roughly the same width as the wheels, almost. Cool. So I frequently do these as squares. Or cubes. Squares, Jesus. It's been a long one already, everybody. It's only been a couple hours. And then these get offset. And I'll just throw a quick bevel onto these four corners. And then just chop, chop. Just cut. Got these four. These you barely ever see in here, but especially because they're a contrasting color on these cars, it seems, it's useful to have them in here. And again, this is all, I say this all with fully knowing just how different this is compared to my old style where I just stretched one crappy truck inside. So it's a big change. Yeah, so that's good. I know these have a big gear, so a lot of times, yeah, I'll just do this here. I'm just gonna grab the same shape. We're gonna scale it down like that, and we're gonna scale it down entirely. And just like that, 20 triangles, which is nothing. I'll lengthen it a little bit just to help fill the space a little more. And boom, we have a full like little interior motor detail in here. Now, to help support those, we need to do our, well, the supports. So a little narrower, a little wider. Looks good to me. It's good. Each of these frames the leaf spring, which I can actually narrow up a little more and make a little wider because it actually pokes out really far. And I know that it's round on the real thing, so I'm just gonna pinch it in and widen up this part to change the angle of the leaves. Now this is really turning out. I don't know if you guys, hopefully you agree, because I'm super happy with this at the moment. I'm going to do a little cheat here, and I'm going to make this a square. Whoops. And raise it up some, and it's just going to be the bolster. Done. Now I'll just go up into where I know the bottom of the car will be and lose its top face because it'll be the bottom of the car. So if you look super closely into here, you will see that the leaf spring, that the car body is connected directly to the top of the leaf spring. But that's just what we'll do. So that's that. Next up, we can do some of these. We'll do some of these. I do realize that means absolutely nothing to you guys, or to me. It's just mindless babbling. But we'll do the side braces here, which you can tell this is an earlier piece of equipment, because these feel a lot more like the ancient arch bar trucks that I've been making for a lot of the Presidio Bay stuff than anything modern, which, fair enough, you know, it's of the time, of the era. So that's that. Just like that, done. I'll put this little stringer here on the outside. I say stringer, no idea if it's actually the best term for it. So I model everything out like this typically, and then once it's all modeled, then I will delete a whole bunch of it and then UV it. Let's harden these edges first, actually, and scoot this in ever so slightly just to give it some depth and some texture. Same with these guys. Let me grab these two and whoop, pull them in. There you go. I'm okay freelancing a tiny bit of detail. And everybody got me to stop, Miles got me to stop doing a lot of detail freelancing. But I'm okay with a little bit when it's super minor like that and just add some visual interest down there. Cool. So these are really fleshing out. Let's do some journal boxes now. You can see them really prominently on this truck. We've got the springs and the coils, and then this actually, oh interesting, that does get wider. Cool, so maybe I'll model that out too. But you can see very clearly this box shape, which of course is pretty easy to recreate. Real quick, it does, I don't know what the best option for that's gonna be. Might actually be this, because we already have it getting wider there. 1, 2, and then widen it out, and now just bring these guys in some. There we go. Okay, so after a rough start, this is now finally starting to look really good. I'm gonna grab a cylinder now. I'm not gonna use the whole thing. I know I already grabbed a cube for a different part for the journal boxes, but I think this is a more important section right here. I'm just gonna do 8, but again, I'll do 10. But again, I'm still not gonna use the whole thing. I'm actually gonna not use the top or the bottom, and I'm only gonna use the front. Because this is the spring. This is the coil. So because it is so small and kind of tucked up in here, I can really just only use those parts of it. And I was gonna say get away with it, but yeah, I guess get away with it is correct. And you know what? I'm gonna reuse this and bridge it, bridge, bridge, grab these two and fill these holes. Cool. so this, it's blown up a little bit, made a little larger. What do you guys think? Little round detail there, which is exactly how it is on the real deal. This is good music for this. Now things are finally starting to go the right way. Do I do socio-political commentary? That's a kind of a weird question. Some. I feel like that's going to get me in trouble. More on my Twitter than here, I guess, but the work that I do and the stuff I'm interested in, cities and urbanism and transit and trains and things, are inherently extremely political and always have been and always will be. So I'll talk about those, you know, when I need to. Cool. So we have our nice pointy bearing caps here. Sized perfectly. You can see they just cover the bottom of the spring, which seems about right compared to the real thing. The springs are a little smaller than the real thing. And these stick out pretty far, actually. So hold on, let me just do that and then lower that. I don't think I need to lower it that much. Lower it just a little bit. Do that here, and then stick it back out, because these are pretty wide. Looks good. Now I'll duplicate those, snap them over to here. Nice, I like socio-political city planning things and city Skylines speedruns. Well, this is a asset creation speedrun. I'm seeing how much I can get done in a day. So far I've done this, the top half of the subway car, and I'm working on the truck here on the bottom half of the subway car. And hey, it's turning out. So looking a little farther, we've got our third rail. Shoot. So just zoom out. There we go. This will be the place to go for that. All right, so big mounting thingy on the inside here. It looks like we have another frame piece low, which makes some sense. I probably should have assumed. Back to Maya. So to get the frame piece low taken care of, we'll just connect these. They'll be mostly obscured anyway, so even if it is the wrong part, which I'm not 100% convinced that it is, even if it is the wrong part of the car that we're connecting here, it'll be almost impossible to see. So you'll see that's a pretty common theme on my stuff, is cheating like this. I don't know if you can call it cheating, but you can kind of, in order to save triangles and to be more efficient, there's a lot you can do with there's a lot you can do to save triangles while maintaining your level of detail in places that are really hard to see. So this is good. What software do I use for the 3D modeling? This is Autodesk Maya. Definitely not the cheapest software. If you're interested in starting out with this stuff yourself, I would wholeheartedly recommend Blender, but if you're interested in doing it all professionally, I would recommend looking at a Maya student license or 3ds Max. Blender has gotten a lot better recently about this, but has definitely had some issues with kind of, I don't know how to best describe this, but like they've been non-standard, I guess, in the past, which, and it doesn't look the best on a resume or application. It's still not really seen as a professional tool, I suppose, which kind of sucks considering that it's very good and free. So, you know, it's a little unfortunate that way, but yeah. Cool. I just tightened things up a little bit to package this. It's coming along really nicely. Let's go for the third rail shoe the wood piece. This is actually a big chunk of wood that they have. At least part of it is. So that's good. And that'll be the wood piece. Ooh. Little slow there. Blender confirmed using Blender. Oh boy. There we go. Phew. So I'm doing this. I'm waiting for my new SSD to arrive, and still working off of a hard drive for my city stuff, which I think what had happened there was that I was just doing everything in RAM, and the hard drive went to sleep, which means when I clicked save, it's a little scary, because it really seemed like it was freezing up, which of course would be bad. Alright, so I can tuck this back, and tuck that back a little, tuck this back a little more, hold this up. So yeah, Blender is super useful. It's a great tool. I've talked a lot about it in other videos and things, because I really hate to ever say, like, don't use a piece of software. But just make sure you're kind of aware when you're using it that it is, if you're really interested in this and really want to do professional 3D work and everything, I would really recommend trying to see, or looking into Maya, seeing if you can pick it up for one of the student licenses or something like that. Just to try to prove that you can use or show that you can use a really professional tool quickly and early. Yeah, it's the same. It's like if you want to do video editing, Final Cut Pro is a good editor, but it's not really professionally used anywhere because it's non-standard. So I can't recommend it to anybody. I don't think that's right. That might be right, though. But yeah, the vast majority of the City Skylines modding community uses Blender. So it's really useful. And you're really seeing it picked up a lot now in indie games and smaller productions, because it's very close to being able to be a professional software. It's just people are afraid of the open source-itude of it all, which kind of sucks, because if, you know, Maya's expensive. I'm using a brand new, like, cheap license because they were losing too much business to Blender, and it's still about as expensive as my cell phone plan. Which is rough. So this right here is sort of doing a little bit of freelancing it, but it's the piece that mounts the wooden board to, it appears to be mounted to the journal box almost, but I think it probably just goes near it in real life and is actually mounted to the frame here. The frame just behind. So, oops. I don't know what the hell vertex that is, but oh, that's what happened. Ha. That just went to the wrong grid. Cool. This is a pretty bulky thing. So figured out you can get Maya for free thanks to it. It's easier to use than, say, Blender. I don't know. I mean, both are incredibly complex pieces of software. I've had an uncle who was talking about this right when I first picked it up. He's in the motion graph, or the not motion graphics, the 3D like VFX industry. And he was like, I don't think a piece of software like Maya will ever be built again. Just how complex it all is, but it depends. I got my Maya knowledge through 3 years of college courses on it, so I'm probably the worst possible person to say if it's easy to pick up or not, because I absolutely did not just pick it up at all. So it's hard to. Blender, I feel like, probably has better tutorials out there. Well, Blender has more tutorials. I think you will absolutely be able to find a Linda class or some sort of paid, like, again, it's a professional piece of software, so expecting to learn it for free on YouTube, you'll run into some issues. But yeah, if you want to pay to learn it, or can afford to pay to learn it, or similar, then it's a great piece of software, and I love it, and obviously use it all the time. You've used AutoCAD before? Yeah, AutoCAD, some stuff will transfer over, some stuff really won't, and in fact, you might have a slightly harder time trying to think of, curves and sweeps and things instead of polygons. Maya does have some curves, and there's, you can do stuff, but it's tricky. It's not obvious. What? This is Zelda music. I'm so confused by this chill hop playlist. All right, let me get my new R142 mesh. So my new cars all have third rail shoes. I'm not gonna listen to music from Zelda, Jesus. So I'll be adding my third rail shoe to this subway car. Cool, thank you. So the third rail shoes, because they're hidden almost all the time, are probably the safest thing to do just with little planes. Like, there's almost no way you're ever going to see that. But just in case, it's there. I'm going to narrow this box a little bit because I noticed that it was pretty wide in comparison. I don't want this to clip the third rail covers all the time. I think it's honestly because my truck face is really wide. So I can, oops, I want verts. Just gonna trim this down a little bit. So it definitely got a little fat in there. So I can just do that. Grab the stuff that's in multiple spots and pull it back in. So, whoops, I actually want to not take that. There we go. Cool. So now this one I want to scale -1 in Z. Keep the X and go negative in Z. Great. So I think that's our truck. Finally, right? It's a little angular, a little low poly looking, but I think by and large very, very accurate and good, which, hey, that's what we're going for, right? So now you'll see I will just be kind of deleting some of the stuff on one that only exists on one side. Can actually be thinned up a little bit too. You don't really stick out that far. Yeah. Cool. So that's our truck. Oh, that's right. I wanted to add. Oops. So this is just a little detail that I noticed on one of these. It has little guides for the coupler, which I can model out like this. And because we're dealing with the bottom of the car, instead of having to actually model it out, I'm just going to texture on some dark spots, which will help. Cool. So that's our truck. Looking about right. A little hollow in the ends, but like you can see here, it's because that's accurate. It's hollow in the end. I don't do any cables or anything. There's some neat stuff along the top wires. Let me check again. Rio's been doing some unbelievably detailed, good stuff on his models, but trying to keep things consistent. All right, so you have a little bit of like the suspension detail stuff, which we can do. What the hell? There we go. Let's do that then. Fine. Fine, I'll do more detail. This is what's going to doom this, any hope of having been able to have done this in one day. It's getting bogged down in details on the truck. But they all turn out nicely, you know. When you do see these, which you still do for sure, it's so nice. I was definitely inaccurate before when I was pushing for less detail, or at the very least, I was alone in my push for less detail, which made my stuff look like crap compared to everybody else's. Though, I don't know about you guys. I think my stuff's always looked okay, at least. Fit the game style when it was new. That's my go-to defense. I was modeling for the game style. And I'll just kind of ignore that the vanilla game style looked like garbage at the beginning. Nobody will know. It's a cover-up, because I know my stuff didn't look great. Cool. Alright, so let's just add that little springy thing. Awesome. Yes, I have modeled traction motors. I've done that. It's on kind of everything now. Just open up a whole bunch of these. So I've got traction motors on the interurban car. Again, you can see I just use the same sort of style. It's really just something to kind of fill the inside of the truck. I've got traction motors on this, as well as just some generic sort of detail. This is the old one, so this obviously didn't have any. State-of-the-art car's got some pretty detailed motors, actually, because I found some good pictures for reference. So that's got some beefy stuff back there, which I think is really cool. And that's the LED. But yeah, so that's our truck. Now we just gotta start naming details again. Our favorite. Our axle, which is the rear axle. F axle. FR wheel. RR wheel. RL wheel. FL wheel. Hi, Ithris, how are you? I'm doing pretty well. Leaf spring bolster. Cool. F traction motor main. R traction motor main. R, what should I call this? Traction motor small. F traction motor small. R frame cross beam. Train build's coming along. L frame. Here, actually, frame. What's PQ? F frame. You came at literally the most boring possible time. I'm sorry. So these guys are all handed detail, which is great. So I can group all these, and this becomes L detail. Okay. Yeah, left detail. Right, frame. You are F spring. F spring cap. You are F bearing box. You are R spring, right? Nope, you're R bearing box. R bearing box. R spring and R spring cap. You are insulation beam. You are the front insulation beam connector. This piece is the third rail pickup, we'll call it. Third rail shoe. This is the rear insulation beam connector. You are frame top suspension. F frame top suspension mount. And you are the R frame top suspension mount. Cool, so that's all my front detail. Now 180. And bang! Detail on the other side. Now that is a finished truck. Now let's slide this guy into place. Bring our reference back. Spin it around. And let's put it into the right place here as well. Wow! It's really coming together. Hey, bad idea. Check it out. Cool. So I'm happy with that. I'm very happy with that. It does mean we're getting awfully close to the terrifyingly boring UV layout. So, before we do that, let's do some front detailing. So we have the coupler, which rides pretty low on the front here. You've got... I think that was done later for the maintenance conversion, because this museum card doesn't have that. It's got a different third rail pickup too, but I'll ignore that part. We're going to do the automatic coupler next, and then underbody detail. I see some round tanks there. I see some square battery boxes. Cool. So, the coupler. The height of the coupler is in the blueprint, thankfully. So we can do that. Looks a little small though. Wonder if this is an old coupler that they upgraded or changed later. Or if that's like the top section of the coupler for the actual automatic coupler part. And the bottom. So I'm gonna do some doing here. And try to make one that feels right instead. Or feels accurate to the real thing. So, sort of two cubes. That's how I have it right now. 2 boxes. Yeah, it's like a messy box up top that I'll just texture up, and then it's a clean box on the bottom that I'll just leave. Whoops. Again, I'm always open to Photoshop right now. I don't know why. So this stuff is a little narrower, so we can do that. This stuff's actually also a little narrower, or a little taller at least. So I can also do that. The couplers and things are something that I always kind of have a hard time wanting to model out in any sort of detail. I don't really know why. I think it's because honestly, most of the time, it's jammed up against another coupler. Oops. Let's collapse these. That's kind of a sci-fi shape for this, though, that I don't really need right on the front of my vintage train car. Whatever. It's fine. Cool. So now I'll just bring the coupler beam, which is way huger than it should be, it seems. I'll bring it all the way back to the bolster. And delete those faces. I think it's sticking a little too far forwards too, even though it's accurate to the anti-climber. And maybe it's too big. I always forget, there's many fewer electronics and things that have to go into this than a modern car. So it makes sense that it's not quite the same as the modern one. But there we go. That'll work for the coupler, I think. It's a small enough detail. And you can see these little guards are there to prevent it from swinging too far. Yeah. Yeah, it's not like it stays in the right place in game. Exactly. Like, kind of make it. Nobody should be looking that close. So if I detail it too much, people will be looking way too closely at the coupler. Awesome. So we got battery boxes to deal with now. So looking at this picture, looks like there's a big box underneath this kind of second window, and then 5 small boxes, and then some tank-looking things. Which will be about right. Let me see if I have other pictures. No, not there at least. I should really learn to just keep this reference stuff open. Does this let me see underneath stuff? Not really. There's just a bunch of like random crap under there, huh? So the other side looks like it just has some boxes. Got this pointy thing, which is a little strange. It's probably like the air compressor mount or something like that, but it's not on this maintenance car. So I'll probably base it off of this on this side, and then I might freelance a little bit of detail on the other side, based off this, obviously, because, hey, if I only have to model it once and texture it once, I would really like that. So, little electrical cabinet, and give it sort of a slight cereal box kind of proportion. And then slide it into place. Check behind that window. It's just, again, like this sort of stuff on the bottom is always weird to try to figure out how much detail you want to add, because it's so hard to see. It's just so hard to see. But it actually does look like there's a decent kind of amount of detail that they just don't really have on these, or between the doors. It doesn't look like there's actually too much underneath the doors, which is good for me. So I would like to extrude this, keep faces together off, and of course I missed one. So I would like to extrude this, keep faces together, whoops. Keep faces together off, very slightly that, very slightly that. Now this hurts me on a poly count level, but it makes for some nice detail that, you know, it's nice to look at, damn it. So it stays. I can do some trickery, I think, probably. Oops. Like, yeah, there's some ways to do better topology here that I can do. I don't actually need any of these divisions. Do I? Ah, crap, I would. This is not so bad. It's 115 triangles. It just looks too good to want to get rid of. So I'll make it a little deeper. Got all these. Just collapse these, and then collapse this, and do the same up here on the top. collapse those, and collapse those. There we go. So at the very least, I can kind of zip it all up in the back, even if it's going to have all this in the front. And it looks good. You know, it looks good. I think that's, at the end of the day, that's what I'm looking for. So I want to do this here, and we'll do 10-sided. It's a nice, oops. It's a pretty long tank, it seems, over here. Scoot that up some. It looked like it had this compressed air, I assume, but tank kind of towards the back. So I feel like there's a lot less under some of these cars. In the olden days, some of the older cars have a lot less underneath them than the newer ones do. Probably because I think they keep the computers and things under the car now, which means there's a lot more electric cabinets and computer equipment cabinets and all this extra junk that I don't think a car in the 1940s a subway car in the 1940s would have too much in the way of computer control. So I'll just chop that, and of course, I don't need these edges either, because I got rid of the faces above. So I can delete those edges, and we're good. So now I have a little air tank here, and I'll duplicate it and just do another one behind, and I'll set it in just so we don't get too many like parallel clean lines and things. You get some offset action. And I think that's pretty good for some of this detail. There was a bunch of extra crap kind of all over end to end though that I'll try to emulate. Just do something like that. Not thrilled by that big battery box thing hanging down, but there it is in real life, and it sure is this just big ugly thing hanging down, so I think I'm gonna stick with it. Alright, good. Is it there, though? That's the question. It's like almost a little more forwards. I'll put those there, because this seemed a little more backwards. And this seemed longer. That seems a little bigger. Tuck tie up, and you can kind of go back some. Yeah. See, that's not so bad looking. I think that's about right. Air tank's probably brake cylinder. Yeah, brake cylinder. For this, I think it's almost certainly brake cylinder. Shoot, I was gonna say it might be something else, but I can't possibly remember what it could be because I'm almost certain it's a brake cylinder. So if I do those, I can group them and then duplicate it and just rotate. And that'll take care of the other side's worth of detail. So a little weird in that it has kind of two brake cylinders, two battery banks, two whatever, and definitely not something I'm doing on all the cars. This is the left underbody detail, and this is the right. And I think that is the model done. We did it. F truck. R truck. Great. And that's that. At a cool almost 6,000 triangles. Yikes. But I think it's worth it.
I miss you.
Miss you too.
Oh my god. So much of this music has lo-fi vocals, which I don't want. This one's got some FBS themed vibes. Anyway. You know, it's a high detailed old fashioned thing. I think 6,000 triangles is not too bad. This for City Skylines Metro overall? It sure is. How long are these cars? It's on my plans. Unless I cropped it out. 60 feet, 2 inches. Okay, 60-foot cars. In real life, these would be 8 or 10. These would be 10-car trains. Let's see. I did 8 50-foot cars, and it overhangs slightly. So that's 400 feet. 60-foot cars. I'll probably do a 6-car train of this. Not too bad. There. This will be the train. That's awesome. Just one of these things. Nice dark green thundering down the tracks with some big Art Deco towers in the background. These were exclusively subway cars, but I'm excited to see them on the L. Well, exclusively subway cars for a long time. They became elevated cars later in their life, as they got moved onto different routes and things. But yeah, damn, I'm happy with these. With the model done, though, it is time to start doing UVs. And before that, though, it's time for me to go get something to eat. So at the very least, I'm gonna say goodbye for now. Thank you all for watching. This has been a good way to get a full train car modeled in how long? 3 hours? That's not so bad. Then I gotta do the UVs, and then we'll texture. So hopefully I'll be back. I've got some stuff later in the evening, but maybe I'll come back. I'll go eat, come back, and then do my evening stuff, and then come back late at night for texturing or something. Who knows? Anyway, thank you all very much for watching. This has been a lot of fun. Again, I'm gonna try to be back later. Honestly, we'll see. I don't quite know how my day goes. My day will go. This is sort of a casual thing, but see you next time.